Hello and welcome to your full moon reading for August 2025. This is a vast, wide open space. Think ocean space. Think ocean space, not actual ocean, but a vast expanse. And you are, yes, traveling on this expanse. Right now, you're on an island. This full moon is an island. Feel the ground. Feel the security of staying for just a moment, staying still, of believing that you know where you are. What is going on anyway? Hi, I'm your host, Anne Headley, and this is my podcast, What is Going On Anyway, where I take some time every 2 weeks to check in on the moon, whether new or full. This time it's full. And if you haven't noticed, if you haven't seen it peeking at you from the sky, it's very showy, bright, and cheeky right now out there in the sky. It's this full moon. And I take this time every 2 weeks and I see what is coming up for me. I give myself this window of opening to just receive intuition, imagination, and share it with you. I use this to tell a story by surfing the present moment. Some call this channeling, but my experience is that it's more of a hybrid of channeling and imagination and intuition. And it's possibly a very good way to brainstorm for the future. I hope this inspires you to look for your own waves of presence. Ultimately, I hope this becomes an internal revolution that I believe is necessary to usher us into the future collaboration of being here together. I'm especially interested in my own and others' experiences of spirituality and the question, what are we here for? And what is the meaning of life? Subjectively. Objectively, I don't care. I'm curious about those answers. And I have asked folks when I get the chance, what is the meaning of life? I've got some pretty good answers. Most of them are that all of creation is so huge. It takes every one of us in our fullness to express the majesty of the creative spirit. So it brings me back to that idea of sinking in, occupying our own space, and seeing, what are we here for? What is the meaning of life for you? What is the purpose of your life? Not grand purpose, but what is it that you are uniquely able to observe, understand, process, comprehend, and how do you share that with other people? August, this process of going from full to new in August this year feels like we're going to be on unsteady ground. It feels like, yes, it's a journey, but it's a journey, it's a timeless journey. So there's no way of doing it right. And there's not a way of putting it into a linear timeline. So right now is that wonderland of threading or piecing together all the different parts of yourself. So the part of yourself, last time we got the hexagram that told us to ask ourselves who we are when no one's looking. And this time we're being asked to take that understanding, who are we when no one's looking, and to thread it back through or weave it back into the who we are when people are looking, the full egoic version of ourselves, which is also a masterpiece of wonder and amazement. I dislike having a hard time with our ego. I mean, it's so easy to make ego our enemy, but ego is also a sculptural masterpiece. It is a masterpiece of protection and awareness and seeing and feeling everything around ourselves. How can we sculpt ourselves to fit into that and keep a safe home for our beautiful spirit while we're here together on earth is an ego. Now, of course, the ego can be it's a solidish structure in energetic terms. And the ego can be confining, especially as we are metamorphosizing into different forms and needing to express ourselves different ways. So right now, this island is, I think I know. Like, it's nice to feel some solid ground under our feet as we go through. There will be several islands that we land on through this August moment. This August moment, I'm thinking, includes this full moon to the next full moon. But let's just reel it in to thinking about this full moon to our next new moon is a moment of integrating who you are when no one's looking and how you can match that to the ego that you have built around you that keeps you safe. So your ego is sort of like your spaceship, and it's got everything you need to keep you alive, safe, and contained while you explore this territory. The tricky thing about what's coming up right now is that we don't understand what we're seeing. That's what's so hard. We're so much is happening inside of us, and so much is happening on the outside. And it's easy to focus on what's going on the outside and the insanity of just watching newsreels right now. And it's easy to kind of focus on that and think that you will make sense of it. You will not make sense of it. You can take it in. I don't think there's anything wrong with being sort of entertained and curious about what is going on in the outside world. But also take a look at what's going on inside and how you are not thinking and believing the same way that you have before. Something's shifting. And the ability to receive information that doesn't make sense, disjointed information, both in inner and outer. There's something about that that's curious. There's something about being able to contain it and sort it. It's like you've got this little sorting mechanism inside. And how is this going to work for you and make sense to you and help you eventually make meaning about this great time of transition, and how there's something about right now that's actually, as much as it does not feel like it when you look to the outer world, something about right now is facilitating a deep expression of the inner self, the person you are when no one's looking. And you can feel, maybe, if you reach into the feeling right now, how something is being unleashed inside, a kind of way that you are actually allowed to be who you always knew you were, but you didn't know would fit into the world. That's exciting and incredibly unsettling. It feels really off to think that you're allowed to be the person that you thought needed to be tamed, controlled, suppressed. So there's a lot of inner work going on about the ways that we've treated ourselves in the past, telling ourselves to shut up inside, to go away, to stop being so, whatever it might be. Dramatic, emotional, so much, so different, so outside of norms. Each one of us has a particular way of being. We're just embodying spirit in the most innocent of ways. And now there's something about, it's like a giant call for what do we used to say? Come out wherever you are. And what was it? Ollie, ollie, oxen free. Ollie, ollie, oxen free. Is that what we said? Oxen free? But come out wherever you are. So there's just the call. You don't have to do anything about it, but the call is there to find and exercise little bits of freedom. It's terrifying. We don't want to do it. I think essentially we don't want to do it, even if that's what I've always said. I just want to express freedom. I'm looking for it. Want more creativity. When it's actually right in front of me, I cower a little bit and I think, oh, I just don't believe that that's safe. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think we've come to a point where there's not that much choice, that we really are being called to bring ourselves, our true selves, to the table and sort it out. We might be sitting at the wrong table, and it's okay to switch some of those arrangements around. We're all still in the dining room, just sitting at different tables. I say that specifically because I thought I needed to sit at the spiritual table of my ex. We were a family. We needed to sit at the same table. I was going to make a beautiful table. And you know what it turns out? It's okay that we are still in the same area, but really spending time at different tables, symbolically. I don't have to change myself in order to be at the table with someone. I don't mean to be too symbolic. That's just like irritating to me, even saying it. I think what I really want to express is that it's okay to loosen up the laces a little bit. We are about to, I don't mean to say this in a kind of prophetic way. I don't know what we're about to do. I don't know. I want to say this anyway. I want it to come out like this, which is we're about to embark on a kind of way of being, including artificial intelligence, and not just including artificial intelligence, but including deep human intelligence. And the human intelligence that's been dismissed by having to be quote unquote normal and having to fit into the hierarchy of white supremacy. So outside of that is a kind of freedom and intelligence and way of creating a world that we haven't explored yet. And the danger feels like, well, we're probably going to ruin this world. And maybe we will. But the alternate to that is that, oh, could you hear Sadie? She just ran over because my time is up. And I will be back in a little while, hopefully with more information. Okay, I'm back. Little bit of a break there. What I want to get to is the alternate to the destruction, the climate disaster that we're facing. The alternate is that people come together and they change this. And we create the world that we can create, where our resources are used wisely and we share and we're not so damn greedy. And I mean, it's not just like some people are greedy. We all have this kind of greedy mindset in the West. Not all of us. I can't say all of us, but there is this pervasive mindset of I've got to take care of myself and my family at the expense of my community sometimes. And I don't know how to change that, but I think that we are capable of that kind of shift. That's what I hope for. So the image that I have here is this vast ocean wide open space, and we are hopping from island to island. All of this is symbolic. It's not an actual ocean. It's a field that feels like an ocean. They're islands that feel like moments of ground under our feet as we swim or process our way to the next grounding point. And that we have to know that there are moments where we're going to feel like, I got this. And there's going to be moments where we feel that we're treading water and even flailing a little bit as we, in this short little 2-week period. But I want to extend it a little bit to through this next new moon to the next full moon. This is going to feel like a journey. It's going to feel like we're, you know how sometimes time feels like it's just really speeded up? It's not that it won't feel that way. It'll feel like we are doing so much inside of time. Whether it feels fast or slow, I think it's going to feel layered, like many layers of experiences happening. And I don't mean that that's not always the way it is. I just particularly feel like right now it might be helpful to think that you are accomplishing many layers of things at the same time. The inner work and the outer work will be really connected because we're doing this thing of weaving the inner to the outer. How about let's see what the I Ching has to say for us for this time period, specifically right now, the full moon, as we drop down into the new moon these next 2 weeks. What would you have us know for this time period? What will help us to understand now? We get hexagram 33, retreat. What must you do to stay safe and whole? How can you change your relationships so they support your integrity? And I have to ask the questions. If you're changing your relationships so they support your integrity, you've got to be coming from a place of integrity, right? So this is where we know who we are. We know who we are from the inside and how we can express that on the outside. We know who we are on the outside and how that can support our continuous integrity from the inside. Retreat means moving away from threats and towards wholeness and integrity. It's a way to be constant to principle and to yourself by paying less attention to immediate results. The army that is loyal to a longer-term objective will retreat in good order rather than linger to gather spoils. The hermit, constant to the truth he perceives, withdraws from society into an inner space. He is not interested in claiming tangible rewards. Such constancy, offering no resistance and creating no friction, bears fruit in small, inconspicuous ways. You know, it may be inconspicuous on the outside, but the inner work of staying true to oneself changes our lives. It changes how we feel about living. It changes how we feel about the outside world when we don't feel that we have to work so hard to create results on the outside, especially when that means rejecting, dismissing, letting go of, or having to betray one's own self. It changes. It has changing line 4, loving retreat. Noble one, good fortune. Small people, blocked. That's a little mysterious, but I kind of like it. I'll just read it one more time and you can feel your own interpretation. Changing line is line 4, loving retreat. How beautiful is that for August? Loving retreat. Noble one, good fortune. Small people, blocked. It changes to hexagram 53. Not small people in stature, right? Small people who are not aligned with their own midlines. Hexagram 53, gradual process. What is evolving here? How can you be more patient? That is such a good question. How can you be more patient? Gradual progress is the name of an ancient river. It shows how water flows gradually and soaks through. Bonds develop gradually, organically, as raw emotional energies are channeled into a lasting relationship. I just got to see a brand new baby last week, 5 days old. And it reminded me how you don't come out of the womb bonded. It's a slow process of getting to know each other on the outside. I mean, you know your baby from feeling the kicks and feeling this psychic bond. But then when they come out and you get to meet them, it's a whole new way of interacting. It is a gradual bonding, developing into what we hope is a lasting relationship. We grow into life's possibilities and evolve and come home into our relationships. Isn't that the most lovely way of feeling it? That we come home into our relationships. We find our home inside ourselves. We share that with others in our relationships. This yields results gradually, almost imperceptibly, provided you have the patience to stay loyal to the destination as the journey unfolds. Thank you, I Ching. I think that's partly something that is really important to add on to the imagery that I have about crossing an ocean, landing on islands in between. We need the patience to stay loyal to the crossing, patience to not know, and patience to understand that we are doing the work of being embodied spirits, and that is mysterious, magical work. And probably it's worth it. Lastly, I just got home from this show with Peter Antonio, Antoniou. That's why I just don't quite have how to pronounce that. His tagline is the psychic comedian. He had a show that was at the Waldo Theater. I went with a friend tonight, and it was pretty fabulous. He has a great set. He's very funny, but he's also like a real, he really convinced folks, including myself, in that audience that he has a beautiful gift. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it was fun, but especially because the questions that people brought, and he does readings for the audience as part of the show. You can look him up and see little clips of the kind of work that he does on, Instagram and such. But the things that people want to know are sort of like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I making the right choice? Will the thing that I want so badly happen? How do I make my dreams come true? And I'm not saying that there is one answer for these questions, but one of the solutions that came up was take it one thing at a time. Your dreams are big, and it may be that you don't even know what you dream, but there's something in us that desires feeling good in our bodies and having the outer world match the inner world in a positive expression, in an expression that makes us feel like we are generating more and more good feelings for ourselves and the folks around us. We tend to have hopes and desires to connect, to how to become, it's like a fully integrated, functioning, flowing being, not just happy, but kind of like what humans are designed for, that we are here to enjoy this life of ours, and so many things get in the way of that. And I feel like a lot of the questions that got asked to him were centered around, how do I get back to my good feelings? How do I get around to enjoying myself and this incarnation, this moment that I'm here? And the hexagram moves to 53, gradual process. What is evolving here? Who are you really in your life? And how can you be more patient as that unfolds? That maybe your expectations are, I want to say, hasty. You know I'm talking to myself, right? Especially with this one. Like maybe my expectations are a little bit out of sync with my actual needs for patiently becoming myself as I age. I mean, and I'm not saying that I'm not myself, but there are ways that I thought that I had to be in order to survive in the world. And now I'm starting to feel and question and believe that it might be safe to be a little bit closer to myself. And I mean, I'm just talking super simple things like saying yes to things that I want to do and saying no to things that I don't want to do and I don't have to do. That kind of simple way of being in the world. Not huge changes, gradual progress. And watching that happen. One of the things that happened in the show tonight, he had this woman stand up who had a question about whether she would be getting engaged soon and feeling impatient with her potential spouse. And Peter he was questioning her boundaries and questioning her expectations around boundaries, saying that instead of having boundaries, you accept everything and then quietly seethe. And when I watch shows like this, anytime I'm in a room in like group readings or anything like that to do with psychic work, I imagine that every bit of information is a reading also for myself, whether I'm called on or not called on. So I was listening to that thinking, what are the ways that I refuse to say no so that I seem like a polite and easygoing person? But then later, I suffer because I didn't want to say yes. And then I use all of the reasons I can think of to be frustrated and upset. And he used the word seething, that you quietly seethe over things. So the remedy for this, he had this woman stand up in front of an audience, an auditorium full of people, and say no. And he said, it will help you with your boundaries to remember this night and remember a whole audience clapping for your no. And he had her take some time because her no's were like, no. They weren't convincing no's, right? Until she finally came up with a no. And then the whole audience exploded in in applause, right? And I thought to myself, oh, if I could feel that for myself, how proud I could be of my full-bodied, full-hearted no, which really protects the way for the yes that wants to show up for the things that it's really excited about. That's a huge lesson in my life right now, to say no to the things so that I have the time available for my yeses. Okay, I feel exhausted, but it's also late. That's it. That's what you've got. Wide open space in front of you, the journey of your beautiful life in front of you. As you move through this particular time, I don't know why. I don't have answers. I used to really love when astrologers would tell me about this like 8/8 Lion's Gate opening portal, but I never understood it. I still don't understand it. I don't know particularly why this moment in time is really good, but it seems to be good for, at this moment, opening and looking at that field of possibility in front of you. And that field of possibility in front of you might be daunting. Of course it's daunting, but you will have some ground under your feet that really make you feel good before you have to go on to the next sort of like swimming journey you might not be that great of a swimmer. Swimming journey to the next island, and then you can relax and breathe and get your ground. And then you're going to take another sort of swim leap forward. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe. That's all I've got for you. So let's enjoy this time. Thank you for being here, of course. You can reach out to me at www.annheadley.com. You can still support me through Patreon. If you enjoy this podcast and you come back again and again, you might want to support me on Patreon. That's patreon.com/watermoonstudios. May you be well. May you know peace. And may all beings everywhere, whether they are known to me or unknown, may they be well, and may they know peace.